Hello, Battle Brothers. Welcome to the channel. So, I'm doing this video just right after I recorded the assault build, but my throat is a lot better now. I drank some tea, and that really helped. So, yeah, this is the final class that I'm covering in my personal build series. And I used to like. Uh, at the beginning, I didn't really like the Bulwark class. It was my least liked class in the game. But when I finally learned how to use it, it ended up as being one of my most favorite classes. Main reason why I used to not like it was because I find it hard to parry. I usually ended up blocking enemy attacks instead of parrying them or missing the parry timing. But I think that was because I used to use the power fist, which doesn't have a fencing level defense. But when I switched to the power sword and used the fencing one, it helped a lot. So I can like I can parry with the bulwark class now. Um, I think I can still parry better with the vanguard or the other classes, but at least it's almost in the same level, and it's not an issue anymore. Okay, well, let's proceed to the build now. That was a very awkward intro. Anyway, as for the loadout, uh, the bulwark doesn't have a primary weapon, so we'll go right into the secondary weapon. Bulwark class is the only class where that's not true. I also use the plasma pistol for the heavy class, but not always. Just primarily for Operation 4, so that I can use plasma shots on the Helldrake. But for the Bulwark, I always use the plasma pistol. The version that I use is the one that has the highest magazine capacity. I usually go for the strongest one, but they're all the same. So I went with the one that has the most ammunition, especially with the charged shots. It takes 10 of your bullets for a fully charged shot if you don't have the perks. There are some perks that reduce the number of ammunition that you need for a charged shot, which I'll get into later. But yeah, this is the version that I'm using. Ophelian Liberation. So for the perks, I think all handguns that I use, I choose all of the bottom row perks because the excuse me. The first perks, it I can go either way. I'm okay with the shots generating less heat and or the weapon cooling down faster. Okay, I think I chose the bottom row because it's the row that increases the damage. This one just increases the radius of the charged shot, and I don't use the plasma pistol to clear ads, so it's basically useless. But let's start at the beginning. So fast venting, weapons cool 15% faster. It's a good perk because sometimes you don't notice the meter, the heating, the overheat meter getting full. At least you'll be able to use the weapon faster. Basically, it's a like a faster reload, and this one just like increases your ammo size. So next perk is Rampage. After killing 10 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Um, this isn't something that I'm gonna be able to activate most of the time because I just use the plasma pistol to uh hit like stray ads or extremist level or terminus level enemies. But most of the time I'm gonna be using my melee weapon. So I actually don't remember a time where I've killed 10 enemies in rapid succession with my secondary weapon, with any of my secondary weapons in all of the classes. So third perk is supercharged shot. Damage from a charged shot increases by 10%. It's a good perk. These are the kinds of perks that I like. They don't have any activation condition, just uh, direct increase. And the next perk, so damage increased by 10% against terminus level enemies. Great might. Uh, in Ruthless, there's gonna be at least one terminus level enemy per stage. Mm, I'm thinking if that's true. I think there's like some runs where we didn't encounter terminus level enemy mid stage, but I can't remember if that's true or not. But most of the time, you will be encountering a terminus level enemy in Ruthless, and this helps. Normally, for classes with primary weapons, I wouldn't find this very useful on a secondary weapon. But in the case of uh, the Bulwark, this is more useful because you won't be engaging terminus level enemies with melee because it's dangerous. So I tend to, at least for me personally, I tend to just stay at uh, long range. Sorry, my itching throat is coming back. Let me just drink some tea again. Okay, so I usually stay at long range when fighting terminus level enemies, and if I if there's an opening where I can melee safely, I go in. But most of the time, if not every time, I exhaust all of the ammunition of my secondary weapon. So this is pretty useful. At least you'll deal more damage before your ammunition runs out. Okay, so the next perk is plasma collection. Energy reserve of plasma weapons increases by 20%. Energy reserve? Is that the magazine or the for overheating? I'm not sure, but I'm assuming it's for the magazine. Charged, so 20%. If it's the magazine, that's plus 24. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm sure this is for the magazine size. So I get a total of 144 shots. Next one, charged shots from plasma weapons use two less energy. Okay, so from 10, it's only gonna use 8, and you have 140 shots or 144. remove the 4, so 80. Uh, 8, 5, wait, no, 4, 2, 12. No, it's 15. So at 120, you get 15 shots, if my math is correct, and then 8, 16, 24. Um, I think you get a total of 18 charge shots at 144 ammo instead of just 14 shots. Again, if my math is correct, but let's not focus on that. Next is retaliation. After a perfectly timed dodge, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. It's an additional source of damage for something that you can activate easily. So, kind of like this one. And also for terminus level enemies, especially ones that aren't long range, like the Neurothrope or Thorpe. I always forget if it's Thrope or Thorpe. And I think that's the only long ranged one. But no, actually, you can still perfectly dodge those long range attacks. So yeah, this is pretty useful for any situation. Last one is fast venting. Weapons cool 15% faster. Yeah, so I just got this one because I don't really have a problem with the charging speed of the weapon. So it's fast enough. So at least if the weapon overheats, it will cool down faster. If you don't, yeah, if you forget to manage the overheat meter. And this one, as I mentioned earlier, just increases the damage rages. And again, I don't really use the gun to clear ads. I mostly use it to uh, kill bosses or to deal damage to bosses at a safe range, or just to pick at some ads that I don't like, stray ads that I don't want to get uh, close to, like ads that are out of the way. Okay, moving on to the melee weapon. Okay, like I said earlier, I like the power fist, but I didn't continue using it because it didn't have a fencing level defense at the mastered crafted tier, so I switched to the sword. And also the sword fits the aesthetic of the wait, I like this one. Yeah, fits the whole knight aesthetic of the bulwark. That's why I colored it mostly silver so that it looks like a suit of armor. And I chose this one, the Gathalamor Crusade. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Because it's the only fencing class or fencing level defense among all of the swords. For the perks, okay, so if you've watched my other videos, you know that I tend to avoid this uh the start of the top row at least, because this one needs you to have full armor in order to get the 10% melee damage increase. And most of the time you're not gonna have a full armor charges because you're gonna be in close range most of the time, and you're gonna get hit at the very least by the stray green spit of the long range Tyrannid adds. So I usually go with this one, just a flat 5% damage increase with no conditions. And also, this leads to this perk, which needs you to switch sword combat style to deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. And I don't really like having to. I'm not a good multitasker, so I don't like juggling several mechanics all at once. So I just tend to stick to one sword style for the entire operation. Okay, so the next perk in the bottom row, Master of Defense. After switching sword combat style, you take 20% less range damage for 5 seconds. Okay, so this is more offense oriented. Yeah, as the name suggests. This one, Master of Defense. Like I said, it's not something that I make use of because I don't like to switch styles. But at least it's there in case I need it. And also, something I have to pick to get to the next perk, which is melee damage increases by 5%. So it's just the same as this one. Okay, so when I was leveling up, I almost uh, what's that word? When you're dating just one person, forgot. Let me think of it for a bit. Exclusive. Okay, yeah. I was exclusively using the power stance, but I tried the speed stance like from level 23, I think, up to level 25, and I liked it more than the power stance. Just because it gives me more time to react to attacks. So with power stance, it has big swings. And also, I tend to use the charged attacks more often when I'm in power stance. I don't know why. So the times where I can't react to attacks with the red circle happen more often when I'm in power stance. So I switched to speed, and I kind of liked it better. So th- this uh this part, bottom part, a lot of the perks here make use of the power stance. When I switched to the upper row. So this one gives is another perpetual strength. It gives you another 5% damage increase. And then this one is momentum gain. Each consecutive light attack increases light attack melee damage by 3%, up to 30% for 3 seconds. Which is good because before I chain in heavy attacks or charged attacks, I usually do 3 light attacks first, or sometimes 4. So that's a 9 to 12% free damage increase. And then this one, speed style combo length increases from 4 to 5 strikes. This pairs well with this one, but I don't really make use of the five of the entire combo. I mean, I don't even get to 4 hits most of the time because, especially when I'm fighting at the very least Majora's level enemies, they're going to attack you at some point, and your combo will get cut off, and you'll need to parry. So I think 5 strikes is overkill. And a lot of times I also like to mix in a charged attack in the middle of the combo. So I don't really need this one, but I need to get it to get to the next perk, which is Chaos Slayer. Melee damage against chaos enemies increases by 10%. Uh, I guess it's okay. At least for one of the enemy classes in the game, you'll get an additional 10% increase in damage. I'm thinking if I can sacrifice some of these perks to get this, so I get a 10% increase regardless of what type of enemy it is. But I'll check later. Next one is while performing a light combo, you take 15% less range damage. Okay, so this is good. At least when you're focusing on Majora's level enemies, at least you'll take less damage from the normal ads attacking you from outside of your camera view and from like the ones that you're not paying attention to around you. Okay, next perk is Reeling Blow. Enemies hit by Power Rake deal 30% less damage for 4 seconds. Cooldown is 10 seconds. I forgot what Power Rake is. Let me just Google it real quick. Hold in the middle. Ah, okay. No, so Power Rake is a charged attack. Uh, in the middle of a combo. So I use those frequently, and the it debuffs the enemy, gives them 30% less. Oh no, I like this one. So if you're focusing on Majora's level enemies, at least they'll deal less damage to you in case they hit you. In case you miss your parry, this is a good additional survivability perk. Next one is Majori Slayer. Melee damage against Majora's level enemies increases by 10. It's very specific, but Majora's level enemies are. There are a lot of Majora's level enemies in all of the operations. But I'm thinking I can. Let me just check this last perk. Speed style attacks restore one. Oh no no, I have to get this because I like this perk. Speed style attacks restore 100% more contested health. Again, this helps with the survivability more, and at least if your banner is on cooldown, you still have some uh your capability to get back your contested health is increased if your banner is down. Because if your banner is up, you can just use it to heal. Okay, so that's it for the weapons. Now let's go to the perks. Okay, so before I start, I'm not sure if actually, I'm sure that this happened to a lot of players, but for some reason, before I got invigorating icon, I think when I was still at the second row, whenever I planted my banner, I get full contested health, and I thought that it was just I thought it was just a normal effect of the banner. But for some reason, when I got to the third row or maybe somewhere at the end of the second row, I can't exactly remember when it happened. I lost the ability, so every time I planted my banner, I didn't get the missing white health back, or I didn't get my missing health as contested health back. So I thought it was a bug at first. But when I got invigorating icon, it returned. So I thought that invigorating icon. Yeah, I was wondering what its effect was because I was already getting full contested health when I planted my banner before. So I don't know what happened. Anyway, okay, let's start with the core perks. First one is conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 5 seconds. It's okay. I actually kind of like it because it's damage mitigation when your armor is fully depleted. So it helps you get less damage while you try to reposition or maybe get an item when your armor is depleted. But there's a reason why I picked the third one, which I'll get into after this one. Intimidating aura. A perfectly timed parry. A perfectly timed parry deals area of effect damage within a 5-meter radius. It's actually quite good also. You'll be parrying a lot because your main weapon is your melee weapon. And at least it helps you with ad clearing. Um, I still think, actually, no, I think I like this one better than this one. 'Cause, I have other ways to manage my survivability, so at least this one provides more damage. But the third one is, at least for my build, the third one is the best option. Forward momentum. After a shield bash, melee damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. Forward momentum uh, has synergies with the other perks, which again, I'll get into later. But this is gonna be your opening when engaging enemies. You start with the shield bash. Okay, for the second column, Armor of Contempt. When you block a ranged attack, enemies within a 10-meter radius take the damage instead. I don't think. I mean, it looks good on paper, but when you're blocking ranged attacks, they're really. I'm thinking of my experiences in the game, but a lot of the times there aren't that many enemies around you anyway. Like when you're blocking and running towards an enemy, there's not gonna be a lot of enemies around you. And then when you get into close range, you're not gonna be blocking, you're gonna be attacking with a sword. So yeah, I can't think of. I don't think it's very useful. The third one is scrambled targeting. If you are surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 20% less damage from ranged attacks. Uh, okay, so between these two, I prefer this one because when you're engaging a Majoris level enemy, at least you'll take less damage from those ads that you're not paying attention to. But this one is the best one. Enemies in the shock area take 25% more damage because the Bulwark class has like an entire build dedicated to shock effect. And this actually connects to the next one, but I'm jumping the gun I'll start with the ones that I didn't pick. Armor reinforcement. Non-finisher gun strikes also restore armor. I think I picked this one in the assault class, and I still think it's useful for the bulwark, but this build is leaning more towards a shock damage or shock effect, so I didn't get it. Okay, the second one is Steel Within. When your health is less than 50%, you take 25% less health damage. Health is less than 50%, you take. Ah, if you're struggling with survivability, this is also a viable option. But I'm more focused on the shock effect, so I chose this one. A perfectly timed parry creates a shock area for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 30 seconds. This one is really good in my opinion. Because the cooldown is fairly quick, so you can activate this very frequently, and a lot of times it helps with, like, it makes ad clearing so much easier, and it gives you uh how do I say this? It makes engaging enemies in melee range very safe because, like, if you parry a Majoris level enemy, which you'll be doing very frequently, then you'll get a pool of like electricity around you, which will help clear the ads around uh the Majoris enemy you're focusing on, or if there are like several of them ganging up around you. Even if you don't have a grenade, you'll have something to uh yeah, the shock will keep the enemies at bay, so you can continue focusing on your target. Okay, now onto the team perks. The first one is unyielding ceramite. Um, oh, I lost connection. Let's continue. Don't tell me there's a problem. There was like an incident several days ago. I think some wire was affected somewhere, and we lost our internet, but our service provider already fixed it. But we're still getting some downtimes here and then, but uh, not as bad as when the accident happened. But there might still be some like lingering effects. Anyway, where was I? Team perks. Unyielding ceramite. The delay before armor begins to passively regenerate is reduced by 5 seconds for all squad members. Da-da-dum. I think it's okay. At least you get your armor back passively. If you don't have anything to gun strike or to finish, but I don't think it's very useful because when you're in the middle of a battle, every one of those, like I mean, those 5 seconds won't matter. Rather than the cooldown of your passive armor regeneration, your ability to kill enemies faster will um, help more with your survival. So I don't think this is that helpful. And you'll probably be gun striking or finishing off enemies anyway. So you'll be regaining your armor through other means. Okay, the third one is effective formation. All squad members take 20% less health damage from terminus level enemies. It's only good for terminus level enemies. But those can make or break a run. So I can see some value in this, even if the situations where this activates is only like a small percentage of the stage or of the operation. But yeah, yeah, I can see the use of this perk, but I chose the second one, which is advanced conditioning. Contested health fades 50% more slowly for all squad members. So that I'll have more time to get a finisher off if I use my banner and get the white health. Also helps your teammates. So if you notice your teammate just got damaged, uh, you'll have more time. Their contested health will fade more slowly, which will give you time to run to them and plant a banner so that they can finish off something or gun strike something to heal. Okay, so for the gear perks, first column, concussive force. Shield bash deals more damage. It's okay, I guess. But shield bash isn't going to be a main source of your damage anyway. You're just going to be using it for the opening. This one. I'll return to this later. Next one is rapid regeneration. The banner restores armor 300% faster, but its duration is reduced to 5 seconds. I don't really like this because sorry for me to put into words. Okay, so I tend to save my banners when I need to heal and not really for armor regeneration. So it doesn't matter how long the banner restores your armor for. So I'd like for my banner to have a longer duration so that I could at least go back to it if I need some armor instead of it like disappearing after 5 seconds. What's the normal time? It doesn't say the normal duration. Wait, here. Uh, um, uh, wait, sorry. I was thinking that this might actually be useful because I don't really like I plant a banner to heal, and once I'm healed, I go to where the enemies are. So I don't really stay inside the banner for a long time. I'm thinking I'd want to go back inside the radius of the banner at some point. I'd like to have the option to go back to it at some point. Yeah, no, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I just decided really don't like this one. And anyway, it doesn't really matter because for this build, this perk is the best one, focused strength. Shield Bash knocks enemies back and makes them lose control for a longer period of time. So this one pairs well with this one. After a Shield Bash, melee damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. So you disable your enemies. You open an engagement by shield bashing enemies, which will give your subsequent melee attacks 95% increase in damage and also making enemies lose control for a certain amount of time. And then you can just whack them with your sword. Okay, so for this column, purity of it's a tongue twister. Purity of purpose. Purpose. The banner deals a small amount of damage over time to enemies within its area of effect. It's okay. I actually used this before I got the third perk. So the second perk is Merciless Resolve. After a shield bash, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 5 seconds. You'd think that this would connect with the other shield bash perks, but I don't really. If you've watched my other videos, and I think I don't remember if I mentioned it during the if I mentioned this earlier, but I don't really like perks that just makes you unable to be knocked back. So the third perk, this is actually a very important perk. It gives all squad members maximum contested health when you use your banner. So it's a very important source of healing, especially in ruthless difficulty. When you so these I generally use my banners for healing myself or my teammates. So if I plant a banner, if I notice that one of my squad mates has like below 50 or 50% health, I'd, I tend to just hover around them and wait for them to engage an enemy. And uh, before they finish off an enemy, I plant a banner so that they can heal. Uh, it's the same when I need to heal. So I save my banner for those occasions. The only time where I don't use my banner to heal is for emergency situations wherein enemies are still let's say I'm only at 40% health and I get into a situation where I'm sandwiched between a large number of enemies, normal ads and Majora's level enemies, and I get hit before I can deal significant damage to one of them. So if I don't think I can get off a finisher before I lose all of my armor and my health, I plant a banner so that I'll at least recover my armor. So that's the only time. But most of the time, I just use the banner for healing. Okay. Now onto the third column. This one, when the banner is activated, it revives incapacitated squad members within its area of effect. Hmm. I'm arguing with myself whether no, not whether it's useful or not. It is useful, but I'm just thinking of how useful. I think the only time where I think I would wish that I had this equipped is if I'm the only player remaining and there's a large number of enemies, so I won't be able to. So there's only a low chance to revive my squad members without getting interrupted. But those situations don't really happen that often. And even then, I could just plant my banner, my normal banner, and it'll give me armor regeneration, and then I can just revive my teammates normally. So yeah, yeah, no, no. I can see how it can save a run, but I don't think it's reason enough to bring it because those types of situations don't really happen that often. So you can just either bring one of these two. These two are the same, have the same like con. I'll just cover them. This one is inspiration. All squad members within the banner's AOE deal 10% more damage. So deal this one gives you 10% more damage. This one gives you 10% uh, damage mitigation. So you can go either way. But I prefer bringing this one, Glory's Shield, because when I plant a banner, like I said earlier, I just plant banners. I use my banner mainly to heal, so it's not always in an optimal position. So I rarely use it like in a strategic point where we can kill enemies without leaving the banner's AoE. So it doesn't really benefit from this one that much because my teammates are just, and even myself, are not going to be within the banner's AoE. I'd rather bring this one. So in those cases wherein I need to place my banner in for an emergency, at least I'd have more survivability. But I guess this one could also help you survive more by killing enemies faster so you can get off a finisher and let me just mull over these two for a bit. um I think I'll keep the defense one, the shield. uh just in case I get into a situation that I like I mentioned earlier where I need to revive a teammate and plant a barrier, at least I'll take less damage while I'm reviving someone. But yeah, you can go either way. They are I think they're equally viable. But I'll stick with the Glory's Shield. Okay, so for the signature perk, the last one is Armored Advance. If you have armor remaining, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. Again, you're gonna be. Wait, if you have armor remaining. Okay, it's pretty easy to activate because you're gonna have armor most of the time. And if not, you can just gun strike normal adds. But the effect is not. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it's a knockback prevention effect, which I don't really like. So let's just move on, cross this one. This one, perfectly timed parry instantly incapacitates a Majoris or extremist level enemy. Cooldown is 120 seconds. It looks good, but I mean, it looks good on paper, but that 120 and that 2 minute cooldown really like makes the this perk unattractive because the only enemies that I'd consider using this on are extremist level enemies, and chances are it's gonna be on cooldown when an extremist level enemy appears because it also works on majority level enemies, and you uh I think 90 to 100% of majority level enemies you're gonna be able to perform a perfectly timed parry on. So there's a high chance that this is gonna be on cooldown when a lictor or something similar appears. And anyway, this first perk is more crucial to the build. So this is shield bash shock build, and this one gives you a reserve shock grenade. Wait, n- wait. I'll just read. I'll just read the description. When your armor is depleted, a reserve shock grenade automatically detonates at your position. Cooldown is 2 minutes. Yeah. So at least when your armor is depleted, it's gonna give you another source to get a shock grenade effect around you, which can help with survivability and to help kill all the enemies inside the area because you're gonna have more damage inside the shock area on the enemies inside the shock area, and you can also proc this one separately from this one, so you can get like several shock pools going on. And don't forget, open with this shield bash an enemy so that you can get additional damage and to disable the enemies who are hit by the shield bash. Okay, I guess that's it for my personal Bulwark build. I hope this helped you make your decision on whatever build you're making. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.